Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tousi TV, your global news channel. I'm Tousi, and we have some breaking news coming from Jerusalem in Israel. Over the last couple of hours, we've been getting some worrying updates about a mass Islamist attack on Israeli civilians, and of course some reaction from the global leaders in general, and of course the Israeli forces on the ground who have already started raiding Judea and Samaria, the so-called Palestinian territories. There's a number of videos that we're going to bring you guys. This is our first live update now from Florida. As you can see, for the next couple of weeks, we're going to bring you guys all the news from all around the world, from the United States. Again, I'm going to get your reaction quickly, but I'm just going to give you the initial update that we've got. There's a lot to actually cover quickly here. First things first, we heard that two Palestinian terrorists entered a bus in Jerusalem, in the northwestern part, with automatic weapons. Around 20 people, unfortunately, were targeted, including children. 6 have so far been confirmed dead, killed, of course. And we also have some information about at least one of the attackers. We also have names and some details about the 6 people who have unfortunately been killed this morning. And then there's of course this afternoon there's a lot to also cover in regards to the reaction from the Israeli government. The Prime Minister is already on the ground. He has released a video statement and a speech alongside Ben Gvir, who's also there. Let's quickly go to the first video we have just received. The footage obviously shows the first moments of the attack in Jerusalem. That the first update was about 4 people, but then it was 5. Now it's 6 people who have lost their lives. Hundreds fleeing in panic. Crazy.
נמלטים לכל עבר, חלקם אל תוך הכביש המלא ברכבים, חלקם לאתר הבנייה הסמוך, פשוט להתרחק ממקום הפיגוע.
Now, the Prime Minister Netanyahu is holding a situation assessment with the top security officials following this morning's deadly attack at Ramot Junction in Jerusalem. We have also received the second video from on the scene just after the whole thing was unfolded. Yeah, you can see police officers, Shin Bet, everybody on the ground trying to secure the area. Another day, another mayhem. The new footage that we now have shows the initial moments of the shooting, including the evacuation and the treatment of those who got injured. Of course, as I said, there's a number of other people. Over 20 people have been targeted. Obviously, 6 have been confirmed dead, but potentially, unfortunately, the number of casualties could increase. Let's go. Meanwhile, the Western leaders continue to advocate for a Palestinian state, while these guys continue to try to bully the world into getting their so-called Palestinian state. This is not the way to do diplomacy. This is not the way to do civility in the modern world, but this is how things are working. So yeah, you can see the number of people outside the bus who are injured. There is also a dash cam footage showing the moment at the start of the terrorist attack at the bus stop in Jerusalem. Hamas and the Islamic Jihad have taken responsibility, claimed responsibility. They are also celebrating in part of Judea and Samaria as well as Gaza. This is not really abnormal. There's always a celebration the moment something like this happens anyway. Usually you have multiple groups just claiming responsibility, even if they're not responsible. But it doesn't really matter about their branding or which name, which logo, which flag. They're all basically part of the same thing, which is jihad. It's all part of the same umbrella. Let's go. That's the moment. Ready? There we go. You can hear the shooting. Now everyone's going to run away. Insane. We're going to give you guys some information about the 6 victims so far, until we get confirmation whether that number is going to increase or not as well. Yeah, so the sound in the background. That guy is still standing there. That's now the so there was a civilian who was armed who also helped eliminate one of the terrorists, and of course the police. This is a perfect example of why it's important for people, citizens of countries, to be able to be armed, to be able to defend themselves, and to be able to keep everybody else around them safe. Because most of the time, police and security are not on the ground immediately. You have to be able to defend yourself. And these guys you can see more people are coming who are armed. The shooting took place at the Ramat Junction entrance to Jerusalem earlier on. An IDF soldier, as well as I said, a number of armed civilians quickly responded before the police managed to obviously get there a couple of minutes later, eliminating both attackers at the scene. And I think we can show you the next video from the top.
יש פה יריות, כולם בורחים.
That's the moment it's happening.
יש פה איזה פיגוע בצומת רמות, יש פה פקק מטורף.
Vile.
עכשיו, פיגוע ירי.
Now, if we give you some information about the victims so far, unfortunately, I think it's important for people to know what on earth is going on. The first 3 victims were confirmed. Yakov Pinto was 25 years old, an immigrant from Spain. We have Israel Mensa, who was 28 years old, local native from Jerusalem. We also had the Rabbi Levi Yitzhak Pash, who was an employee at Kol Torah Yeshiva. And so these were the first information that we received from the first 3 victims. We do have more information coming in the next minute or so. But a yeshiva student with a firearm helped to end this terrible attack in Jerusalem by eliminating one of the Islamists on the ground. I think we have a short video showing the student. There you go.
זה הבחור החרדי שחיסל אותם, תראו שפורק לו את הנשק. מהימ"ר, קבלו. הבחור החרדי הזה חיסל אותם.
It's terrible. Now, of course, when the IDF go and do targeted attacks on Islamists, for example, Hamas in Gaza, and then there tend to be civilian casualties and collateral damage, because some of the civilians tend to stay instead of actually leaving an active combat zone. And when 1 or 2 civilians, unfortunately, get killed, the global media show outrage. You're not going to get the same level of sympathy when it comes to Jews and Israelis. That's just normal. But of course, it's our job to give you guys this information if the legacy international media refuse to do. The 4th victim, we have a confirmation that is Rabbi Yosef David, 43 years old. He was a resident of the Ramat neighborhood in Jerusalem. He was unfortunately killed while waiting at the bus stop on his way to study at his study hall, or the kollel, and his books were still in his hands when the Islamists targeted him. The 5th victim of today's attack in the area has also now been identified as Rabbi Mordechai Steinzag, apologies for that, Steinzag, who was 79 years old. And we also now have confirmation of the sixth victim of this morning's terror attack in Jerusalem has been identified as Sarah Mendelssohn, 60 years old, from a local resident from Jerusalem. Now, one of the attackers from today's Islamist atrocity has now been also identified. We can show you the face of the person. That's the guy. We will get more information about him in terms of obviously name and age and which group he was actually a part of. Of course, he was part of the Islamic Jihad, we know that. But in terms of the direct network and connections to the wider Islamist umbrella on the ground. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also is now on the ground. Over the last hour or so, he did speak to the press and the media. Let's quickly go get his reaction.
אנחנו במלחמה, מלחמה עצימה נגד הטרור בכמה חזיתות. ראשית אני רוצה לשלוח תנחומים למשפחות הנרצחים, וכמובן איחולי החלמה לפצועים. כשאני אומר שאנחנו במלחמה עצימה בכמה חזיתות, יש לנו כמובן הצלחות אדירות נגד משטרי הטרור, נגד ארגוני הטרור, אבל המלחמה נמשכת גם ברצועת עזה, שבה נחריב את החמאס. כפי שהבטחנו ונשחרר את חטופינו, כל חטופינו. ולצערנו גם בירושלים. ביהודה ושומרון פעלנו בתקיפות רבה מאוד. השב"כ וצה"ל סיכלו מאות פיגועים השנה. אבל לצערנו לא בבוקר הזה. אנחנו עכשיו במרדף, בכיתור של הכפרים שמהם באו המרצחים, ואנחנו נשיג את כל מי שסייע באדם, כל מי ששילח אותם, ואנחנו ננקוט בצעדים קשים עוד יותר. אני רוצה לומר בצורה הכי ברורה, הרציחות הללו, הפיגועים הללו, בכל הגזרות, הם לא מרפים את ידינו. הם רק מגדילים את הנחישות שלנו, להשלים את המשימות שלקחנו על עצמנו. גם בעזה, גם ביהודה ושומרון, בכל מקום. אנחנו נלחמים בטרור, במשטר הטרור של החות'ים, באיראן שמגבה את כולם, בעזה, בלבנון, בחיזבאללה, בכל הגזרות. אנחנו לא מרפים וגם לא נרפה. אנחנו נעצים את הפעולות שלנו, ואנחנו נשיג את כל המטרות שלנו.
Now, whatever people think of the Prime Minister Netanyahu, some people are his supporters, some people don't like him, some people say he goes too far, some people say he's weak, he doesn't go far enough. We can all actually, I think, objectively speaking, appreciate as a leader, as a statesman, he's much better than a lot of the so-called Western leaders in emergency situations. He tends to keep it calm but reassure people. He's good at responding, essentially, not just in terms of the media, but also in terms of the management of the government and the security overall. And of course, there's a lot of conversations about the internal politics in Israel. As I said, it's divided. But those who don't actually appreciate this level of style, leadership style, you're just going to have to look at some countries, including the UK or Canada, for example. Imagine Mark Carney addressing an emergency like this. They're going to be all over the place completely. Now, speaking of the Western leaders, Emmanuel Macron of France has reacted, but he's done a whoopsie, as usual. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The president said that France strongly condemns the attack that has just occurred in East Jerusalem. Yes, you heard that right. The president of France said the attack occurred in East Jerusalem. Now, this was in the northwestern part of Jerusalem in Israel, not in East Jerusalem, the eastern side of the wall. I don't understand what these people are doing. If this is supposed to be some part of subtly send a signal to the Palestinian supporters that basically I'm trying to say this is supposed to be Palestine, not Israel, it's not really working, is it? All it shows is that Macron and his presidential team have no idea what they're doing. Well, I mean, they don't know what they're doing in France, let alone on the international stage. Now, we can now confirm that the Israeli forces have started raiding the town of Ratna in the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, the hometown of at least one of the perpetrators of the attack this morning in Jerusalem. More raids will be starting soon as well. The operation in Gaza is also escalating massively, but of course Judea and Samaria is now going to be a target to ensure that all the terrorists, the areas have been cleaned up. Now that's going to take some time. Israel is fighting on so many different fronts. They have to multitask on a daily basis. They also have to ensure that the security of their own citizens inside the country is also safe, let alone outside. Now, let's quickly get some reaction in the live chat. We have Mark, thank you for your super chat, saying, congrats on your beautiful wedding, delicious to see. Thank you so much, Mark, for that. Let us see what else we have from the rest of you. We've got Christy saying, oh, thank you so much for your generous super chat, by the way. Make sure to join Tousi TV Plus if you want to support the channel. Saying a happy wedding, a very lovely video you shared, sending many blessings for all the years to come. I appreciate that. Mr. Rainbow says, sending prayers for all the fallen people today. How sad this is. God bless their families. Yes, God bless Israel. Mazel tov, Mr. and Mrs. Tousi. Thank you so much. Let's get some non-super chats as well. We have someone saying, these constant attacks from extremist Islam, jihad is an act of war. By default, of course it is. That's jihad, holy war. It's not really that holy, by the way, but they think it is. First, these extremists come for the Jews. Then they come for the rest of us. The Western countries deport all the slimy people. Yeah, so it's part of their program to say we will first take over Jerusalem, then we'll go to Vatican, then mainland Europe. Then one of the it's interesting in terms of the to-do list for Islam, because Islam at this point in the 21st century is mostly about revenge. At the beginning, the 7th century, 8th century, even 9th century, was more about just conquest and just keep winning and taking over Spain, Portugal, all the places. Now it's about revenge, and it's simply about taking back what they've lost. So they say Jerusalem first, Vatican next, mainland Europe, but then one of the specific lists is Spain, and they want to rename it again. But that's already slowly happening, because the Spanish government have decided to open the doors without vetting people's backgrounds, and they don't need to do jihad, because all they have to do is just go to Spain easily and take Spanish taxpayers' money and have a lot of babies and build more mosques, bring down more churches, and Spain will eventually change again. The jihadis are getting desperate. They know Israel is going to utterly defeat them. So they are trying to provoke Israel so Israel can be demonized in public opinion even further. They're also trying to, by doing this, that's absolutely spot on, by the way, they will also paint themselves as victims again, which means that they could get the Western European liberal government, that also includes some socialist-leaning governments like Spain, to have sympathy, which means that then they could be seeking refuge over there, because they know when they do these sort of things in Europe, they don't get, they don't face the consequences like in Israel, like in the Middle East. In the Middle East, if you do that in Israel, you'll be punished. If you do it in Saudi Arabia, you'll be punished. If you do it in UAE, you'll be punished. But if you do it in Europe these days, the western parts of Europe, you can get away with it, because you can just say, hey, it wasn't me, it was someone else. Oh, that's such a shame. And you won't really feel the punishment. Wayne from Canada says, keep up the amazing citizen journalism. In Tousi we trust. RIP to the victims. God bless Israel. Thank you so much, Wayne. To quickly also... Oh. I think we might get a reaction. Do we have it? Yeah. Let's quickly go to the members of Tousi TV Plus. There's a couple of comments I need to read out for you guys. Clinton says, congrats on the wedding. Hisian sends love. Israel needs to get rid of all the Iranian proxies that have been attacking them by any means necessary. Mossad and SEALs need to get together and get rid of these terrorists. I agree. My daughter missed it by 30 minutes. Well, that's lucky. The first funeral is at 5 p.m. today. He should check the map at that junction is not in contested Jerusalem. Exactly, that's why Emmanuel Macron is incorrect. I'm a resident of Ramot, Arab bus drivers, we don't have apartheid, and this is what we get for it. Yeah, I remember when I was in Judea and Samaria, we got a taxi. We actually got a taxi from Jerusalem, and we were going towards the Dead Sea, so we had to go through the even the Palestinian territories. You had actual the Muslim Arabs working as taxi drivers in Israel, going back and forth. There's no real security checks, despite what the media wanted to believe. And but this is the thing, this happens. Israel has been so soft on its own security in that part that it's made it slightly difficult for it to stop these constant attacks. Everyone keeps talking about Gaza, but actually there's a massive, complicated issue in that part, in Judea and Samaria. Islamists know nothing of civility or diplomacy. They are pure evil. Yep. And Linda says, congrats on the wedding. We need to stop caring about what they say. Spoken by a real Zionist. Yeah. Who says this heinous attack in Jerusalem is an inexcusable act of terror and must be condemned without hesitation. Innocent civilians have once again paid the price for blind hatred and brutality. Such violence cannot be justified under any cause. Yeah. And Islam is a humanity's cancer. Surgical precision of removal needed. Next will be shootings in the UK. My goodness, I am frightened. Yeah, if they feel, that's the thing, because I remember that the Shah of Iran said once in the 70s, he did an interview. Obviously, the Shah was a massive ally with Israel. CIA didn't like that. And he said that he was asked by CNN, I think, what is your opinion on the Palestinian cause? And he said, our Palestinian brothers need to understand that they can't continue to bully the world into what they want. He said that in the 60s and 70s. And it's now 2025 and our leaders still don't get it. These guys are bullying the world into getting what they want. And they will, as the person said just now, unfortunately, they will probably start doing more things like this jihadi act in the West. And not just in the name of, because most of the jihadi attacks in the West have been ISIS, Daesh, Al-Qaeda, those guys, separate groups. But you are going to get more Shia-backed pro-Palestinian side start doing more attacks in the West because when they realize that they're not getting enough support from our prime ministers and our presidents. And that is why Emmanuel Macron and Clown Carney and, of course, Keir Starmer or Stalin are backing the Palestinian cause. Is it time for Bibi to take the gloves off in Gaza, Judea and Samaria? Yeah. And the Houthis. What about Trump taking reciprocal diplomatic measures against jihadist enablers and supporters in Europe, and namely Spain? I think that's what's going to happen next. That's the next phase, both in terms of the White House, but in terms of the Israeli side, they've already said we're going to have to also sort out Judea and Samaria. It's not just about Gaza. Gaza is going to be sorted out soon. There's just been a lot of, let's just say, military bureaucracy, because there's a lot of booby traps in Gaza City. That's going to be sorted out soon. The Houthis are basically over. And then you have to sort out the Islamic Republic of Iran. We're going to come back shortly with more live updates for you guys. And at the same time, I'm also going to enjoy my honeymoon in Florida for the next couple of weeks with my new bride, my wife, Danielle. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.